Rebecca Hotel, G78. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Greg. E4 NRC, he's got Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, and thanks for setting up the line. Name again, Graham. And Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Any other 7s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, then it's time for the 6s. Stations, figure 6 in the call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo, Chris. G4 NRC, good afternoon, Chris. Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo. Any other 6s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so let's go for 5. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. For NRC, nothing from our single 5 call signs, so let's go for a 4. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. For Hotel Uniform, Foxtrot, over. G4 HUF, G4 NRC, thanks Phil, I was getting a bit bothered, I've got no 4s at all. Good afternoon to you, any other 4s please, G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so it's 3. Stations figure 3 in that call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over.
Golf 3 Victor, Echo Hotel, Chris in Winchester. Good afternoon, Greg. No traffic, in and out, but we'll be listening. G3VEH. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian.
G4 NRC, returning. Okay, Chris, Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, good afternoon to you, copied you in and out. And Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, who's staying with me. Any other 3s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so let's go for the 2s. Mostly the intermediate 2s. This is G4 NRC, over.
2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra, Colin Midway, RAYNET controller. In and out today, Greg, please.
G4 NRC, keeping it moving. Colin, good afternoon to you. 2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra, and copied in and out. Any other 2s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so let's go for the 1s. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please. G4 NRC, over.
GM1XEA, X-Ray Echo Alpha. Name's Peter. In and out this week, Greg. Like Colin, I'll be listening, but I'll hopefully be listening. I shall be trying to get my tea ready, etc.
G4 and RC. Okay, good afternoon then, Peter. Golf Mike 1 X-Ray Echo Alpha, in and out, but you'll hear me do the mea culpa for last week's error and omission. So at least I've got a witness. Any other ones, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so into the zeros. As usual for the Mike Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier first, please. G4 and RC, over.
And zeros, say, Alan. E5.
Mike 0, November Alpha Sierra, Neil, Essex Raynet.
And 0, LOM, Paul, Essex, in and out.
Mike 0, Whiskey XA Golf, Shirley, in Cornwall, in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Mike 0, Tango Mike, Andy in Cornwall, in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee. Good afternoon, Greg.
G4 and RC. One day I'll do the cameras facing differently for the live stream so you can see the look of panic and the keystrokes involved in getting the M0s done. So, Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, good afternoon, Alan, and congratulations, you won't be last on the net today. Mike 0, November Alpha Sierra, good afternoon to you, Neil. Mike 0, Lima Oscar Mike Paul, Mike 0, Whiskey X-Ray Golf Shirley, and Mike 0, India Tango Mike Andy, all copied and all shown as in and out. And Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee, good afternoon to you, Guy. Any other Mike 0s of any regional secondary identifier, please? G4 and RC, over. Nope, nothing heard, so let's go for Golf 0 stations, Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier for G4 and RC, over.
Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Name is Andy. No traffic, so in and out this afternoon. Thank you, Greg. Over.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, Andy. Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Any other Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over? And RC, nothing heard. So do we have any UK stations who have missed their turn to call in? Any late arrivals who wish to call in, please call now at G4 and RC, over.
Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike. This is Steve, Jersey Raynet.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, Steve. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike. Okay, now for the international liaison stations. Any of our international colleagues from the likes of Arran in Ireland, Nodsamband in Norway, etc. G4 and RC is waiting for international liaison stations, over.
Lima Alpha 6 in your mic. Name is Hans. Will be listening, but in and out.
No traffic today, in and out, please.
Echo India 5, India Echo Bravo. It's Tom here. No traffic for me, Greg, so in and out.
G4 and RC, that's my usual fleet of internationals. So good afternoon, Hans, Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, Peter Oscar Mike 4 Alpha Echo India, and Tom Echo India 5 India Echo Bravo. Fantastic, 21 stations checked in, a good response, thank you all. So, usual reminder, this net is being live streamed by Graham, G7NEH, to YouTube. The live stream and recording will be available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on youtube.com. This is a time-constrained net again today, I'm afraid, as I need to close by about 16:45, 16:50-ish maybe, so I can get to a basketball game. To do the mea culpa I mentioned earlier, correcting a mistake I made last week, group and county constitutions should be lodged with the company secretary if they are changed, not the registrations team. Oops, but thanks to those groups who did update us with their information, and it has wound up in the right place, and thanks for helping us keep the paperwork in order. A cold snap is forecast starting this evening. Peter up in Aberdeen is likely to get temperatures in the minus double digits, according to the Met Office earlier. So that's going to mean an uptick in energy use. However, UK gas storage is currently standing just short of 80% full. The National Grid reported in the press earlier on this week that they're confident they have enough margin to get through the remaining winter period. Their online forecast for 2 to 14 days ahead that I looked at prior to the net shows the 17th and 19th of January as lower margins than the rest of the period, but not enough to get bothered about. But the dips are nudges to the industry to make some extra capacity available. So no reason to disagree with the National Grid statements. Closing off some little loops, there was a brief IT server outage on Thursday evening, which we suspect was down to Microsoft doing some update works. And we had no follow-up reports on last weekend's news item of the earthquake and potential tsunami in the Vanuatu Island area from IARU Region 3. So that's all I've got for the first round. I'll go to Phil first, Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie. And Phil, I need your request for subdomains forwarded through to me so I can chase it with the IT team leader over.
G4 NRC, G8 KLC returning. Good afternoon, Greg, and everybody else on the net. Yeah, we spotted the web outage. I thought I found another one yesterday. It got back to the usual, wouldn't let me log in for the first 3 attempts. But gave it a couple of minutes and it settled itself down. So no big problems there. Not much to report this week. Things seem to be going fairly slowly, but they are going forward. Excuse me. We've managed not to get too cold or wet, although the water table is probably just about matching the roots of the grass. It's all a bit squelchy out there. It has been most of the week. But no signs of flood yet in the area, which is always a good thing. And yeah, okay, I'll send the email off to you reasonably soon. Do we have a company secretary, or is that another one that's 2 people are doubling up on? Well, no, 2 jobs for 1 person. The only reason I asked was I came across an entry in something to do with, it wasn't Company's House, but it had the wrong company secretary address. Unless she's come back, and I'm sure she hasn't. I'm waffling, I'm going to stop that. G4 NRC, G8 KLC.
G4, correction, G8 KLC, G4 NRC returning. Okay, and that was a lot of typing. So, we don't have a separate company secretary. That's being done by doubling up. Kathy's doing that one, which is why the Chinner address should be the address company secretary. If you found a link somewhere else that says something different, I can only assume, since we've got all our regulators and Company's House updated, that it's one of those sites that scrapes data from Company's House and tries to pass it on. But if you can find that link again and send it through to me, that would also be appreciated. I'm wary about, since we're going to Mike next, about saying no signs of floods yet, but yes, the water table is very high here in Cheshire. Some of our favourite wet patches like Ince Marshes are looking very wet rather than marshy, more like little lakes. So yeah, water table high, flooding won't be far off. It might be nice if the rain falls as snow for a while rather than wet stuff. At least it'll delay things. So, okay, look forward to the email. Thanks, Phil. Catch you any more comments on the next round. Mike, Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NLC, over.
G4NRC from G8EY. Bit of a delay there while I watch what the dashboard is. Hopefully, still coming. Oh, hang on. And I'll drop out and come back again. From G8EY. Not quite sure what's going on. It actually said I'd only been transmitting for 1.1 seconds, which seems unlikely. So I'll keep it short. Yeah, the cold snap is forecast for this part of the world around about Monday afternoon through to Wednesday morning. 33 out of those 39 hours will be below 0 C with a bit of snow at the end of it. But otherwise, yes, we had the mini lemur workshop on Tuesday morning, 2.5 hours, which I did by Teams because of still the hanging on lurgy. But it turned out to be quite useful. I think they learned quite a lot from it. From G8EY.
8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, returning. Yeah, you are suffering severe packet loss. I'm on the RAYNET-UK server, and you were dropping out. And the Brandmeister side was showing packet loss up to 40%. However, copied, you've got the cold snap well forecasted in his hand. And I think a lot of areas have learned from the lemur exercise. It's just getting all those messages passed on and cascaded on, which is proving to be the challenge. Okay, next to Graham, G7NEH. You can tell me if any adverse comments have come through on the YouTube comment stream yet. G7NEH, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G7NEH. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg, and good afternoon to all on the net. No adverse comments have come through on the chat box as yet. And last week's net, we got a total of 22 views and 5 likes. And there are 4 viewing this week's stream at the moment. Not a lot to report at this end. I've just updated the firmware on the Icon 705 this afternoon and also videoed it. So I'm in the process of throwing something together, and we'll stick it up on YouTube as and when I've done it. I've just got to get my head around DaVinci Resolve to get it all edited. So it's taking a bit longer than I thought, but there we go. So not a lot else to add from this end. Sign me out for the next round, Greg, unless you actually need anything commenting on. G4NRC, G7NEH.
G4NRC, returning to G7NEH. Okay, Graham. Okay, for viewing real time, I'm just wary of the comments because at some point, when you start saying, I've got my hair for a while or something else like the abuse, but we usually have to wait for Steve to do that when he logs in extramitterly. Okay, next then is to Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, and Dave managed to join the RAYNET HF team net at 40 metres well yesterday, but discovered some entertaining propagation conditions. So baptism of fire, Dave, but at least you made it. M7AVO, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everyone. And yes, an enjoyable hour or so yesterday afternoon with joining the HF net. First time with this new rig, and I think I'm well and truly out of my 40-metre hole now, and we did make some contacts, and it was very trying, very hard work, and thank you to everyone who was participating for your patience, and Graham for relaying, and it was very enjoyable. Hopefully we'll carry on into the future. Back to you, Greg. Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar.
7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 and RC. Yeah, it's interesting how the antenna change helped you to get in and get heard, and vice versa. Never expected proper polarization issues to be an issue, but you weren't the only one. I was talking to somebody else last night who was spotting something very odd going on with 40 meters. Okay, next to Chris, Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo, G4 and RC, over.
Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, all. Well, I've been playing with APRS running over LoRa modulation today and yesterday. Managed to build to load some software from OK2 Mike Oscar Papa onto a TTO T-Beam, which is a little device consisting of an ESP32, a GPS module, and a LoRa radio, all already soldered onto a little PCB with a capacity for a lithium-ion battery. So that was fairly straightforward hardware-wise. Software took me a little while to get my head around it, but I managed to download it and install it. And then for a gateway, I'm using a generic ESP32 module with some very dodgy wiring to one of these little SX1278 LoRa modules. Just a tiny board, very dodgy wiring. I only tested it for in the house at the moment, but very interesting and very low power. So I'm interested to see what range I get when I get out on my bike and try it out a bit further. Back to you, Greg. G4 NRC from G6PDE.
PDE, G4 and RC returning. Okay, yeah, I'm just very interested to see how APRS over the more efficient LoRa modulation works. I've been looking around. Yes, I'm still finding uses for ESP32 modules, and I was looking at one chunk of software which would allegedly let me gateway from analog onto the M17 mode. So it would at least give me an in to M17, even if we don't actually have M17 radios to hand. But I'm looking around for uses for the various SA818 and other modules. And people with a long memory will remember I got a DMR cheap module from China. And when we found it was only a tier 1 DMR, so wanted to operate with real DMR. So that's probably going to do analog juicy on 77s for something as some kind of gateway. But I've noticed that Nice RF, the maker of those modules, is now doing a tier 2 DMR module. I just can't find a price or a supplier for it yet. So there is still hope for me making mischief with something homebrew on DMR. Okay, thanks, Chris. Next to Phil, G4HUF with an apology. I've not responded to your email, Phil, but I can confirm that last Thursday's Merseyside meeting online using Teams worked okay. So as long as you set up the invitation in the right way, there should be no reason for you not to be able to do the same for Dane Valley. G4HUF, G4 and RC, over.
This is G4HUF. Right, okay, thanks for that, Greg. Because that basically resolves me having to talk too much on the air at the moment. The most significant vote is that we've boosted our DMR numbers in Dane Valley by 50%, albeit that I've cheated and invited Paul G70JA to join. But apart from that, nothing else to add at the moment. And bearing in mind we're feeding our
G4HUF, G4NRC. Phil, you're dropping in and out roughly on a sort of 3-second, 4-second cycle, but not showing a tremendous amount of packet loss. I'm not sure if Guy's going to have any observations. But yeah, okay, I will drop you something about setting up the Teams thing, or we can talk it through, so you don't have to spend too much time talking on air. Just an observation, G70JA is already on DMR and has checked into this net from time to time. So presume that is you've just invited him on so he can access the Dane Valley groups, talk groups, so you can interact with him on that one. Just make sure I've got you and you're still vaguely with the nets. Just confirm you're okay with that. G4HUF, G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing further heard from G4HUF, so hopefully he's not visiting too much harm onto his hotspot as he figures out the fault finding. Okay, I'll come back to Phil on the next round. Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
Try again. G4NRC, this is G3ZHX. I don't actually have any traffic for you, and good afternoon to you and everybody on the net. I don't actually have any traffic for you, but I thought I'd take the opportunity to wish everybody a Happy New Year, since I wasn't able to join in last week. And with that, and in view of your need to get away early, I will now drop out, and this is my final. Going clear, G3ZHX.
G4NRC, back to Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Yep. Happy New Year, Ian. You have to do that debate at some point. When do we stop doing Happy New Years again? It's still going around work. Yeah, there was a quick block of your transmission. I think we're back to contemplating, do I need to leave every 15 minutes a gap for people whose repeaters might be about to time out, just to blip in and keep their repeater alive, so that they can continue listening to the net. Something to think about next week. Okay, so noted you out on this one. So next it's to Alan, Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4NRC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody from sunny Suffolk on the coast. It's quite nice here today, though bitterly cold and a bit drafty, but not too bad. Yeah, I'm getting lots of breakups today on the net, drop notes and all sorts of rubbish coming in on the hotspot from the DMR service. I don't know what that is. I don't think I'm really personally involved with that. Nothing much to report from here. We're gearing up for AGM next Saturday. Looking forward to that. And other than that, that's just business as usual, really. All quiet. No events due until March. And no obvious crystal flooding or anything to worry about. I won't come back. I'll stay to the end, but don't call me back in next time, man, as you're in a hurry. G4NRC. I'm not wishing you Happy New Year.
Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4NRC. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Glad. Well, not glad, but glad you're getting the dropouts as well. I do wonder if it was me, since it's happening on both networks, but I use independent hotspots, and there's loads of broadband capacity, so it shouldn't be an issue. Noted your comments about events coming forward. Sod's Law is also coming to play. Merseyside RAYNET meeting I attended on Thursday. They've got two big events on one weekend, so consecutive Saturday and Sunday. They've got two big and long events, almost as usual. The organisers obviously don't liaise. So we will no doubt see that as we get totally out of COVID in organisers' terms, and they bring everything back in, we hope. Okay, next on the list is Neil, Mike 0 November Alpha Sierra, who normally is an absolutely massive signal on HF for the nets yesterday, but Neil, you were barely audible, so I don't know what was going on. M0NAS, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, M0NAS, and good afternoon to everybody. I'm not sure what happened yesterday, Greg. I think it's conditions. I can't remember exactly what yourself, DDN, AVO, couldn't hear any of you. John was massive as usual, down in Surrey, but yeah, not good. Same setup, same antenna, same power, but it wasn't working. But anyway, good afternoon to everybody. The signals are so much clearer on DMR. I've got a couple of things to mention. One of them will interest Guy, because Guy mentioned this to me. The first thing is, locally we have a net twice a month on 842, Pheonix Network 842. And we've been experiencing problems, so we're considering, if it doesn't cause a problem, to run a net on this channel or on the Pheonix equivalent of 23531. It'll be a Wednesday evening from 8 o'clock for probably about a maximum of an hour on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month. That's one thing to mention, and if there's any problems, please let me know. My details are on qrz.com. And the other item is I'm trying to build a 2 meter 70 cms crossband using 2 ICOM PMR radios. If anybody's got any knowledge of programming and connecting, I need some help. I've got comms going one way, but not the other. If I transmit on 70 cms, I get the signal come through out on 2 meters, which is perfect. Get the other direction, I transmit on 2, and on 70 cms I get a carrier, but no audio. My details are qrz.com. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm using an ICOM F Foxtrot 510 and a F 610 for this crossband. I think that's about everything. Like I say, if anyone has any details, my email address is on qrz.com. Good to hear everybody. All good signals, apart from those dodgy, but majority are very clear and good readable. You can sign me out, Greg. Thanks for the contact. G4NRC 73M0NAS.
G4NRC returning to M0NAS. Okay, Neil, thanks for that. Thanks for confirming you hadn't changed anything on HF. As far as the net's concerned, then yes, I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Philip G4KIL, an LOD? They were using 23531 initially for a net just to prove they could, and then moved it off onto their own talk groups on the RAYNET-UK server. I don't think there's any objection at all to getting activity on the net, on the talk groups, sorry, so by all means, 842 on Pheonix not working for you. 23531 on Pheonix might suffer the same problems. 23531 Brandmeister or 502331 on RAYNET-UK will obviously be fine, so it's not a problem with me. I'm hoping somebody else will have the ICOM radios you're interested in. I'll pass it on to Guy to tell me off now, but Guy's normally happy with people using the server. So M0GUY, G4NRC, over.
M0GUY, G4NRC in the group. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Absolutely no problem at all using the this talk group. That's absolutely fine. That's exactly what it's there for. Would love more activity, more traffic on this talk group. So please go ahead and do that. If you get an uptick in members wanting to actually come to the RAYNET server itself, then obviously you can run the net on one of your own RAYNET zone or group talk group numbers, and that would get it off the Pheonix and Brandmeister. So if they are having issues, then you can run it directly on the RAYNET server on a different talk group number. Again, there's 100 for you to play with in your own group to work, whichever one you want to use. It does obviously require either somebody to be running a repeater that is registered with the RAYNET server, or people to be using their own hotspots. and connecting their hotspots into the RAYNET server. And any of those options are available, and happy to help with setting people up. But I guess for the moment, while you're just putting your toe in the water, then just keep with the 23531 and see how that goes. But as I say, if Brandmeister or Pheonix are having issues, then you're likely to still have issues on that talk group as well. Depending what those issues were, of course. I'm assuming it wasn't people trying to chat across the channel or something like that. But anyway, let me know if you need any assistance. Happy to help with that. Otherwise, I have nothing else to add, so I shall listen into the end. But in order to keep things tight, don't worry about calling me in on the next round unless there's something anybody needs to answer. Otherwise, I shall say 73. Thank you very much, Greg, and I will speak to you all later. From Mike Zero, Golf Uniform Yankee, back to you, G4 NRC.
Golf Uniform Yankee, G4 NRC. Okay, thanks, Guy. Yeah, that's as expected. 23531 needs the use. 5023-531 gets tested as a consequence anyway because of the bridge, so it's a win-win. Okay, next to Steve for this round. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4 NRC, over.
G4NRC, this is GJTPM. Thank you, Greg, and hello to everyone on the network. I shall try to be quick, Greg. I know your time is limited. The weather here in Jersey would be described as fresh. Another word you might use is violent. It's 4.6 to 4.7 with something like 50 miles per hour winds. I was out there today, and there's about 20 feet of waves just very close to my house. So it's an interesting day. We have quite a lot of rain recently, but it's warm. It's 8 degrees C and about 5 degrees C at night. We still have COVID in Jersey, and we're sadly losing about 4 people per week. We had 4 deaths this week, 4 deaths last week, and 4 deaths the week before. 154 deaths in total in Jersey, and 25% of the residents here have had their autumn booster. We had an interesting RAYNET incident in that many people may be aware a marine beacon went off in Jersey, for a safety incident, and the Coast Guard couldn't find it. So the Jersey RAYNET folks did locate it, and by doing a bit of simple direction finding on VHF, we found it quite quickly. Somebody had dumped the beacon in the rubbish tip, and fortunately, it was recovered fairly quickly before too many bad things happened. I don't have any more after that. Greg, thank you to all, and pleasure to join the net today. G4NRC, this is GJTPM.
Yes, 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4NRC returning. Yes, Steve. Well, I spotted that article in the Jersey Evening News last week, brought it to the net last week, and it's very interesting that you were able to do that for the benefit of others. That kind of finding beacons activity is what our French colleagues are absolutely set up to do. Adrosec in France is more about finding downed aircraft beacons than it is about doing the kind of things we normally do. That seemed to go to a separate organisation in France called MCOM France. So, horses for courses, Jersey RAYNET showing that they can do both, which was the win-win. Okay, thanks everyone for being appreciative of the time. We've got slightly fewer to go through on the net for the second term. So, G8KLC, thank you. I have received but not yet read the email you sent through for the subdomains, so thanks, Phil. I will add my voice to those chasing that request. G8KLC, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G8KLC. Okay, Greg, no problem. Nothing further, so I'll let you get away. And 731 and all. G8KLC, Lincolnshire.
G8KLC, G4NRC. Almost feels like I should give Graham a sort of ending card which shows when the basketball games are coming up for the rest of the season, and you'll know when the nets can be longer and when they need to be shorter. Okay, thanks, Phil. I'll let you know how I get on. Next to Mike for a final. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY. Yep, 73 to everybody, and thanks for running the net, Greg. So I'll let you go from G8EEY.
Yankee G4NRC. Yeah, no problem, Mike. Some of the delays on running on DMR is having to wait seconds for the radio to reset so you can transmit again. Otherwise, we could do it faster on analog, I'm sure. Okay, 73 to you. Next to Dave, Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar. No, nothing more to add here, Greg. Thanks very much for taking the net. And hopefully catch you on Friday on our local group net, which I believe will be 6 meters. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar.
Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC. Yes, that's another thing on the to-do list. Next West Cheshire net on the 20th should indeed be a 6 metre net if we carry on doing what we did last year. So I shall put an email out to the group for that. Okay, thanks Dave. Typing and talking at the same time is not a good idea, so I'll pass it now to Chris. Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, G4NRC, over.
Thanks, Greg, for running the net, and thanks to G7NEH for the live stream, which I'm watching 8 seconds behind live, with the sound turn off so I don't get confused. Back to you, Greg, 73s.
Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, G4NRC. It's 8 seconds the latest at the moment. I should still try and figure out how I should send video from me to show why I have to keep glancing off screen, because I've got the clock running and I can see the carriers pick up on the RAYNET-UK server and then come back on Brandmeister. So it takes me a while to see everything click into place and be happy it's working. However, to prove the 8 seconds delay, it is 16:45 and 10 seconds now. Next to Phil, hopefully not so many dropouts this time. G4HUF, G4NRC, over. For HUF, G4HUF, G4NRC, over. Okay, nothing heard from G4HUF, so we haven't got many stations left on the net, and I'm emailing Phil later anyway, so it's back around to you very quickly then, Steve. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike for a final G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, this is GJ-DPM. Yes, I'll just add on the beacon story if people are interested. We did follow up with the Coast Guard, and indeed a number of people here from RAYNET met with the Coast Guard, and we're putting some new procedures in place so that we can help them also with emergency services when local radio communications might go down. And I found them very receptive. They were. It was a good meeting, just for everyone's information. And we will follow on now and see some of the other emergency services people to try and make sure we keep the links open, Greg. So that's all for today. Hope you make your next deadline. This is GJ-DPM.
Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4NRC. See, that's the bit that we miss after the headlines of doing the good job and finding the beacon and doing things that others couldn't do quite so quickly. It's the positive benefits afterwards. Getting a relationship with the Coast Guard, very positive going forward. And if it helps with the other emergency services in Jersey, even better. Okay, right. Thanks everybody for your patience in letting me get away on time. So I will close the net, thanking everybody for taking time out of their schedules this afternoon to participate. Be careful, have a good week, don't get too cold, hopefully the flooding doesn't come along so don't get too wet. And until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll now close the RAYNET UK weekly activity net on RAYNET UK 5023531 and Pheonix and Brandmeister 23531 talk groups, and return the talk groups to an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie now closing, reverting to my normal call sign of Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.